Hello and welcome to CU Sports Mag. I'm Ron Knellenbauer alongside Rose Heafy.
Yeah, well, we had a pretty exciting week going on this week in sports. I met up with Coach Linda Lappy for the women's basketball team. Got to kind of talk to her a little bit about how her first season's going as the Division I head coach. What else is going on this week?
And skiing, they dominated once again another event, this time in Utah. And of course the big one, number 6 Kansas, coming to the Coors Event Center to take on the men's basketball team.
Oh, definitely. Let's take a look at those lights right now. The sold-out blackout crowd was ready to go, and so was Corey Higgins as he started off CU scoring a layup. But KU was quick to answer with a jumper here by Marcus Morris. Nate Tomlinson later would answer with a 3. This game he finished with 8 points. Tyrell Reed goes in for the easy layup, but is denied by Alec Burks. He's showing a little swagger there for the CU Buffs. Josh Selby for the 3 at the buzzer. The shot clock expires, and it's good. Kansas up 16-13. Jayhawks on the move. Woody with the rebound to Taylor to Morningstar for the 3, and it's in for the money. Kansas now up by 10. Burks would later find Roberson under the basket for this pretty nice one-hand jam. CU was making a comeback. Reed later connects with Taylor, who makes the fake, takes it to the hole. But Corey Higgins would show a little defensive effort here, just intercepting a pass, looking to drive it all the way, but he would stop up a little short, dump it off to Knutson at top of the key, who seals it with a swish.
Now Rose, Kansas wouldn't go away. Morningstar's long 3 wouldn't go, but Jeff Whitty puts away the rebound. Jayhawks up by 4 at the half. Sees Alex Burks, well, he finds a lane. Easily up there, his 25 points right there. Then Kansas sees Elijah Johnson, finds Markieff Morris down low and just overpowers over Austin Rufal for the easy bucket. Higgins says he can do that as well. Easy layup there. He finishes with 19. Under 3 minutes remaining, Tomlinson finds Relford for 3. Give me all 3 of those. One possession game as Colorado is only down by 3. 16 seconds left. KU up by 2. Taylor to Marcus Morris, and he'll get fouled. Going in for the layup, Morris heads to the line. He's only shooting 67% this season from the free throw line, so the Buffs have a chance, and it goes in. One more chance for Colorado. They need him to miss this one to keep this a one-possession game, and he doesn't. One last gasp for Colorado as Alex Burks' 3 doesn't go. It wouldn't have mattered anyways as CU loses by 4. Final score 82-78. Kansas gets back on track after losing last week in Texas. Now Linda Lappy's Buffs fell to Kansas State Wildcats Wednesday night, 72-59. With a win, the Buffs could have moved into a fifth place tie in the Big 12 with KSU, but they couldn't capitalize off the weekend win versus Missouri. In the loss, Britney Spears scored a season-high 26 points. The senior also tied Amy Matherin's consecutive start streak with 112. The only other player in double figures was Chucky Jeffrey, who netted 19 points on the night. The Buffs have a tough road ahead with them only playing 4 of the remaining 10 games, at home at the Coors Event Center. Next up for CU, a trip to Austin, Texas to take on the Longhorns on Sunday afternoon.
Former CU standout offensive tackle Nate Solder was invited to the 2011 Senior Bowl. Solder was a consensus All-American his senior season, as well as a finalist for the Outland Trophy. Scouts project that Solder will be one of the first offensive tackles selected in this year's NFL Draft. The Senior Bowl will be played on Saturday, January 29th in Mobile, Alabama. The kickoff is at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.
Women's basketball standout Britney Spears has done it again and again and again. By appearing in Wednesday night's loss to Kansas State, Spears tied Amy Matherin's record for consecutive starts at 112. Britney also tallied 19 points against the Wildcats, moving her past Tara Bjorklund for 3rd all-time on CU's scoring list. Head coach Linda Lappy said of Spears, "Anytime you have that many starts in a row, I think it's something very special. Only a select few get those. She's definitely a part of that select few." Spears will take sole possession of the career starts record if she takes the floor against Texas this Sunday. Up next, John Embry makes another addition to his coaching staff.
And I caught up with women's basketball coach Linda Lappy to get her thoughts on her first season back in Boulder.
CU ski team won the Utah Invitational after the completion of the Nordic events on January 21st and the 22nd. Colorado held a slight lead over the host Utes after the Alpine events finished a few weeks ago. The Buffs pulled away this weekend to beat Utah on their home turf in part of the 2 of the competition. CU's Vegard Killhammer took home the men's classical title while also finishing second in the men's freestyle race. On the women's side, Aliska Halkova finished second for the Buffs in the women's classical race and in the freestyle race as well. Colorado's next event is the New Mexico Invitational, February 4th and the 5th.
Linda Lappy played for the Buffs, and now she's in her first year as head coach in Boulder. I caught up with her to talk about this season and her transition to her alma mater. Hi, I'm Rose Heapy, sitting alongside Coach Linda Lappy for the women's basketball head coach. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the season going so far and her first season here at CU. So right now, how is the season going right now for the women's basketball team?
We've been up and down so far. We've had some good games, we've had some not so good games, but right now it's just about making sure that they bring it every single day in practice, every single game, and we have to stop having letdowns like we've had the past couple games.
And how do you think you can make this more consistent, how keep that focus there all the time?
Being prepared every single day in practice and getting in the mindset that we can't have days off, because days off in practice lead to days off in games, and nobody likes losing. Our team doesn't like losing. I hate losing.
You were a student here and also obviously a player here. So how have you been able to draw on that experience being a player here and now you're a head coach?
Well, knowing the conference, knowing the Big 12 conference, I think has been huge. Knowing a lot of the different coaches in the leagues, they were the same coaches that when I was a player, and so you kind of know their styles. You know what their players are going to bring. You know if they're a tough team mentally, or you know if they're a team that you can maybe beat just because you're a little bit more mentally tough. I've been in every single arena in this conference, which has been a huge help. There's nothing that I'm unfamiliar with as far as that goes, and I think just having my former coach here as kind of my direct supervisor has been great too, because she's really helped with a lot of the little things. Whenever there's something that needs to be taken care of, she takes care of it and tells me to coach my team and to coach basketball, and anytime you have that sort of support, it's huge.
Kind of going back to the players now, Britney Spears, she tied the on Wednesday night she tied the record for consecutive starts, and she's also the highest scorer on the team, one of the highest in the Big 12. What does she bring to the team as a leader?
What she brings is a lot of skills, and she brings the ability to come in and shoot the ball and have huge games. She started to add a pull-up jumper to her game. She has started to be able to drive the ball to the basket, and she's become one of our better defenders, and I think that's important. We can put her on a post player, we can put her on a guard. We try to put her on whoever's kind of hurting us on the other team. A lot of times she's the one that has that assignment defensively.
Now Chucky Jeffries, she was injured earlier, and then you've seen other players stepping up. For example, Brittany Wilson. Where can you see the depth coming in with the team, with the younger players especially?
Well, it obviously hurt when Chucky went down, but it was a great opportunity to have other players step up. And every experience that I've ever had as a coach and as a player, when somebody gets hurt, it doesn't matter if it's one player, it doesn't matter if it's a key player or not a key player, somebody steps up, and usually a few people step up, and I think we had that, and Brittany Wilson stepped up. I feel like the rest of our team stepped up, and she missed our Iowa State game, and for us to beat a number 16 team in the country without our second leading scorer and point guard is pretty amazing.
Cool. All right, well, we're going to throw it back to the desk, but good luck with the rest of the season, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Rip Scher is following John Fox to the Rocky Mountains. Head football coach John Embry announced on Monday that Scher will be the quarterback's coach as well as an assistant head coach for the Buffs after spending 6 seasons in the NFL. Scher spent those years as the quarterback coach for the Carolina Panthers and the Cleveland Browns after being at the collegiate level for 31 years. He contributed his coaching skills to 11 different schools, including holding positions ranging from graduate assistant to head coach.
Female athletes at CU have Flo Hyman to thank for her contribution to athletics. The Buffs celebrated National Girls and Women in Sports Day on Saturday. Andy McDonnell has more.
National Girls and Women in Sports Day started out fast. Girls and boys in the 8th grade and younger went from station to station playing golf, drawing, cheerleading, basketball, tennis, volleyball, and, well, I'll let Audrey tell you.
Soccer.
It's the 25th anniversary of NGWSD and is getting a lot of young kids involved in sports.
I don't know, it's just kind of a time for us to be able to meet the younger athletes that want to eventually become some of us in the future, so it's kind of a good day just to meet the community.
The youngsters went around interacting with CU athletes. Once they participated, they could get their cards marked and move on to the next activity. 4 stamps of approval, and they received a shirt. But this day goes beyond sports.
I feel very strong about this issue. I think sports need to be open to both males and females, yes.
It's about equality. 38 years ago, Title IX was enacted to provide an equal playing field for men and women in athletics. NGWSD provides women and girls with the chance to take in these sports starting at an early age.
I think it's promising, yeah. And I talked to some of them and they're like, we're just excited. Like, I play soccer and basketball and tennis, and they try to do everything.
After playing with the athletes in the sports they may one day grow up playing, they have one final chance to meet their female buff icons at an autograph session. They receive signatures from any and all buffs on their shirts and posters to conclude an eventful day. While she's grateful for the autographs, it's possible that she's actually thanking the past women that have helped make her athletic career a possibility. For CU Sports Mag, I'm Andy McDonald.
Now with Nate Solder pretty much a lock to go in the first round of the NFL Draft, it got us thinking. When was the last time the University of Colorado had a player go in the first round of the NFL Draft? That is this week's trivia question, and we'll have the answer for you later in the show.
Break, Derek Kessinger was on campus and asked CU students about their school spirit.
And we'll head to the double team desk, where David LaRose and Eddie McDonough will talk a little CU men's hoops. Mag's own Derek Kessinger hit campus to get the pulse of the state of CU athletics.
The CU sports section was sold out days before the game. We decided to go around and catch up with CU students about their general impressions of the CU sports scene and of the NCAA tournament chances for the men.
I'd like to say the rallies and everything.
I just like the fight song.
Fight song.
To be honest, I haven't been to any.
I've been to a football game.
I've been to a football game too.
Love it, love it. Football games, that's probably the best part of them.
Like when Ralphie runs in the football games.
Like in one go, in one jump?
In one jump.
2.
2?
2.
8.
I would say 10.
Like a trillion?
A trillion?
No, like probably like 20 or 25. Oh my goodness. I have no clue. Maybe 10?
Maybe 10, okay.
I'd say that since we've replaced our coach, we have a lot better chances. So probably better than 50-50. Not like super good.
I really hope they do.
But I'd like to say high.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe. I don't know.
I've heard that they're better this year than they have been in a long time.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
That's good.
I don't
Do you
even
know
know what the NCAA is.
Some people seem to know a lot about the CU sports scene. There are others that still need some basic knowledge. For CU Sports Mag, this is Derek Kessinger.
Black and gold are going to be well represented at the 25th World University Games. 7 buff skiers will be competing in Turkey later this week. 4 of the athletes will ski for the USA, and they will be challenged by their teammates from Sweden and France. Buffs head coach Richard Rokos joins them in his 7th stint at that position. The WUG will host nearly 2,000 athletes from 57 countries around the world. Buffs golfer Emily Talley will also take part in the summer version of the Games in August.
We're now going to throw over to the double team desk, where Eddie McDonough and David LaRose will talk a little CU men's hoops.
Definitely, take it away, boys.
Thanks, guys. I'm Andy McDonald, sitting aside David LaRose, and we're talking a little men's basketball. The number 6 Kansas Jayhawks came into the Coors Event Center, and they won 82-78. But like I said, they're number 6 team in the nation. What did you take away from that game?
What I can take away from this game is Kansas is a big name program. They came in, we played well most of the game. With a team like that, you got to stick close. At points, we were down by 10 twice, and we came back and we tied it up, and we had a shot at the end to maybe pull out an upset victory. But overall, I thought we played really well.
Coming into the game, we lost 2 games on the road, at Nebraska and at Oklahoma. In the Big 12, you got to consistently bring that intensity every game, every day of the week,
right.
And you got to play like that. And unfortunately, the Buffs brought the intensity, but Kansas was just too good. The Morris twins on the inside, big factor, were just too much of a handful for Dufault and Roberson.
Right, we held them to a combined 21 points, which I thought we did a good job on defense. You saw the other players like helping down and trying to get the ball away from them and doubling them and to get the ball out of their hands, because we had such a size disparity. But the Morris twins' main imprint on the game was on the boards. Kansas out-rebounded us 33-19, and it was mainly because of them, and they got a lot of second chance points from that.
Yep, like you said, second chance points. They outscored the Buffs 21-2 on those second chance points. And another telling fact is the Austin Dufall didn't have a single point in the game. Dufall's been playing well this entire year, but he didn't get a single point. And those handful on the inside, but they're also a handful on the outside, and that's why it makes them the number 6 team in the nation. Reed, Morningstar, Selby, Tyshawn Taylor, they're all good on the outside on the perimeter.
It seemed every time that Colorado got close, the Selby or Morningstar would come down and hit a three. They always hit big shots right when it seemed like we might have been able to take the lead or take the momentum and run with it. But you saw Selby, if you looked back at the tape, he was 3 to 4 feet behind the three-point line, draining threes from that far. And when a guy's that hot and he's making shots from that far, he's really hard to guard because you're going to have to come out and guard him out there. But if you do that, he can just drive right around you.
Like we said, Kansas is always a big game. But this year kind of felt different because we kind of knew what the basketball team was going to bring intensity-wise. So it was kind of good on our side for the Alec Burks and Corey Higgins, and we know what's going to happen when they show up and play well. Alec Burks had 26 points. He's getting that more consistently. There were 23 teams from the NBA and 36 scouts total came. So it's not just on the Kansas side. It's also on the Colorado side.
Right. When you looked at it, Alec Burks, like you said, had about like 25 points. Higgins had 19, and Relford had 15. But if you look at all of our wins, you have more than just 3 people scoring in double figures. You have balanced scoring all around. But Knudsen didn't really have that great of a game. Roberson wasn't hitting well. He wasn't playing very well. But what does the Buffs have to do to get back on track?
Moving forward, the Buffs play at Baylor this weekend and then Iowa State. Baylor has been a consistently good team the past few years. They're not as good this year, but they still have some players on the inside, on the outside. They're long, they're lengthy. They're about the same record as us, both inside the conference and outside the conference. So if they bring the intensity on the road like they did here against Kansas, they have a very good chance to make an imprint.
Right. Baylor was ranked in the top 25 at the beginning of the year, and they looked as being one of the teams that were going to win the Big 12. But after Baylor, we come home for Iowa State. So hopefully we can get a road win at Baylor, and then after Baylor, come home, get a home win at Iowa State, and keep up our NCAA hopes. For David LaRose, he's Andy McDonald, and we're going to send it back to the desk.
In his first race as a Buff, sophomore runner Joe Morris has already set a record. Morris set a new school record in the 60-meter dash at CU's Potts Indoor Invitational, finishing in a speedy 6.67 seconds. Adam Salzman also had a good weekend for the Buffs, picking up wins in the men's heptathlon and the 1,000-meter run. Overall, CU finished with 8 event wins and over the 2 days of competition. Upcoming meets for Colorado include the UW Invitational in Seattle and the Don Barrett Duels at Air Force Academy this week.
The women's basketball team tried to bounce back against Missouri after a tough road loss. Chucky Jeffrey returned to the team after being out of the lineup for the last 2 games, and Brittany Spears shined as well, scoring a game-high 26 points. But the Buffs were stalled as the Tigers came back to lead at the half. CU overcame the Tigers' margin and ran away with the game. Final score, 58-48. This is the second conference win for the Buffs, both coming at home.
CU men's basketball dropped to 3-2 in conference play after losing to the Oklahoma Sooners last Saturday. The Buffs' 60-67 loss was their lowest scoring game this season. Although the Buffs started off the game well, the Sooners quickly pulled away, stretching their lead to 12 points in the second half. Colorado played catch-up and got as close as 2 points. However, Oklahoma made their free throws down the stretch, and the Sooners stole a win. Corey Higgins and Alec Burks each scored 15 points, and freshman Andre Roberson chipped in with 10 points and 4 rebounds.
Stay tuned for the trivia answer. Here's a hint. It was in the same year that the men's basketball team last went to the NCAA tournament.
The X Games in Aspen are hoping for some fresh powder. Jacob Eliashar tells us if they're going to get it. The team played their first match of the 2011 season in Boulder on Sunday. The Boise State Broncos only lost a single match in their 6-1 rout. Junior Michaela Jensen won the Buffs' lone match for her 43rd career victory. The Broncos have beaten the Buffs in the last 3 games. The teams have faced off. The Buffs have also have a week off before returning to action against Utah at home.
With great anticipation, we'll get to this week's trivia question and the answer. But first, Here it is one more time in case you might have forgot. Who was the last player from the University of Colorado to go in the first round of the NFL draft? Well, you might say Jordan Dizon or Daniel Graham, and those would be pretty good guesses. However, the answer is Tyler Brayton, who was drafted in the 32nd overall in the first round by the Oakland Raiders in 2003.
CU has received a verbal commitment from kicker Will Oliver. The California standout finished 4th overall in a national kicking event last year. Oliver ranks 12th in the high school for high school kickers and in a career-long field goal of 50 yards. If Oliver signs, the Buffs will have 3 kickers on scholarship for next season, including Zach Grossnickel, Justin Castor, but CU has not had a consistent kicker since Super Bowl-bound Mason Crosby, since he left for the NFL in 2007.
Our own Jacob Eliashar has this weekend's ski report.
All right, give us the scoop.
My name is Jacob Eliashar, and welcome to the very first edition of CU Sports Max, the Ski Report. Unfortunately, due to the lack of snow that we had the past couple of days, only 3 resorts have just got new powder. They are Keystone, Snowmass, and Winter Park. All 3 of them have received an inch of fresh new powder. But however, if you guys want to go where the action's at, head to the beautiful city of Aspen, where the 15th anniversary of the X Games is doing on. Right now we have Buttermilk Mountain and in Aspen. But right now we go to January 20th. It's going to be there from January 28th to January 30th, and 125 contestants are going to be battling it out in snowboarding, skiing, and snowmobiling. Right now, that's all the time I have at Ski Resort Report. Have a great weekend, and back to you guys at the desk.
So, Rose, are you going to the X Games this weekend?
Unfortunately, I'm not, but I got a big crush on Shaun White, so I'm definitely going to be catching up on that. I'll be watching that on TV, and Flying Tomato, that's just, my heart goes out to him.
Flying Tomato, Shaun White, he's going to probably win another gold medal, don't you think?
Oh, he's got it in the bag. After seeing him at the Winter Olympics with I believe it was a double McTwist, I believe?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. It was pretty amazing, so I think he's got it in the bag.
It should be a fun weekend, of course. You have the X Games in Aspen, and a whole bunch of CU action as well. Well, that's all the time we have for CU Sports Mag. For Rose Heafy, I'm Ron Knubbenbauer. Good night, and we'll see you next week.